Greetings, I'm Barrett and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're continuing our playthrough of Bardsung. We're taking our characters Dawnguard, Nightfeather, and Skullsplitter through Chapter 2 of this mission. We completed the first one, which was up here, and we decided to go down this path here. We're going to start by reading our story moment 300 and continuing our playthrough. This is going to be yet again another one of those dungeon crawls, so you'll see how that is, and I'll have it set up for you to show you what it's all about. We're going to be moving on. We have some experience points we have to spend. I'll show you what we did with those, but I'm super excited to get back to this game. I hope you are as well. If you're excited to see what happens in this episode of Bardsung, and will Dawnguard, Nightfeather, and Skullsplitter make it through yet another dungeon crawl, then I need you to meet me at the table. When we left off, I had 2 experience points I had to spend, and what I decided to do is we have our Steadfast card here. It started with this ability here. This hero or another hero on the same tile gains pinned. Pinned will leave you at wherever you are on the track when it comes to the initiative, and I decided to upgrade that for 1 experience points to this one instead. It says move this hero or another hero 1 space left or right in the marching order. The hero then gains pinned. I figured that was super good because not only does it remove the ability to have to deal with being on a tile, but it also allows them to move left or right. So it does kind of 2 things for 1 experience point. I also have the pin token here. I'm going to leave that on the card so that when we do it, I have it ready to go. In the rules, it doesn't say you have to spend all your experience points. We are going to carry over 1 experience point because we each had 2 at the end of our first mission. Also, we are able to equip this. It says Rune of Agility. When this hero suffers a wound, they can dodge. So I'm only able to put that on armor because it is a rune. So we're going to give that rune to Dawnguard, mainly because she's the only person with armor. All other characters have 2 weapons instead of any armor. Nightfeather also had 2 experience points, and the one I decided to upgrade for this one was this guy's Taunt ability. This Taunt ability at first is only able to, if this attack hits, after resolving the effect, the target can be placed in the same zone as this hero. And it does allow this character to dodge, and then that character to be moved into the place. But Taunt allows this to not only continue on dodging away, but check this out. I get to add +1 to the hero's attack range during this attack. And if this attack hits after resolving the effect, the target can be placed in the same zone as the hero. So again, it kind of does a couple extra things. So I thought that'd be a really good one upgrade. So I am also keeping 1 more experience for Nightfeather as well. Skullsplitter only has 3 abilities because I decided to upgrade his strength when we started our first mission. But I decided on this one. This one was the best one, I think it was. So before, I would just be able to chain this attack, and it gives me 1 hit or 2 hit. It's pretty good. I decided to upgrade that with both experience points because now I get, if Skullsplitter was wounded by an enemy attack during this round, the attack does not cost any fate. Normally this will cost fate to activate, but now it will cost none if he takes damage. I think that's absolutely bonkers good. The path we decided to take does have 3 treasures out here. So there's 1 here, here, and there's also 1 up there. I've placed our characters here, and I do want to mention when I did the original playthrough that I did a mistake on this tile. This is 4 different squares. There's always 1 at the beginning, and there's 1 on each side. When I originally did this, I counted this as 1 full square, and that is wrong. So I'm going to place our characters down in the middle of this tile, but do know that you do have to take a move to get to any part of those tiles. There is a small narrative here. It says, what's a short delay to your journey? In all honesty, and surely you'll be far better equipped to defeat enemies with the treasure along this path. If you remember from our last video, we had to choose between going down a noble battle or for treasure. We chose treasure because I like treasure. It says here though, gain 1 corruption and retrieve card 44 from the challenge aspect vault and shuffle it into the deck. Over on the side of the map, we're going to see a small token on a large giant square. Don't know why it's that big, but it decided to be. Here's the deal. We have to take 1 corruption hit. This is the reputation track. You're either going to gain goodwill or corruption during the game, depending on the text or things that happen on cards or things of that nature. We're going to be taking a corruption hit, so we're going to be moving this down 1, which gives us a net good reputation of 0. We started at +1, so right now we're right in the middle. We're right in the middle at 0, and I guess that's all we do there. The other thing is I'll be taking card 44 and shuffling it into our challenge aspect deck. Before we start, I do want to mention one thing about the treasure tokens. From what I understand, you always place the first one in the northmost position, and our compass rose right up here shows north kind of facing off a little bit to the right, so that's why it's always going to be going up here. Then from how I understand it, you're going to be placing them in clockwise order around the board, and they're always going to go on these different symbols here. With everything set up, we are ready to start. I have sleeved these into non-opaque sleeves so you can actually see them, or not see them, I should say, so we don't know who is who on these. Before, if you remembered, all these cards were a different color on the back, so you'd always be able to know what was what unless you turned away. This way we don't know what's going on, and I can just flip these over and we'll see who the order of what we're going with. It's going to be Nightfall, Dawnguard, and then Skull Splitter. With a treasure token sitting over here and all the rest of them over on that side and up, I want to move this way first to probably grab this treasure. After all, we went this way to get the treasure, and we took a corruption hit for it, so we might as well pick up as much treasure as we can. So I'm going to have Night Feather make some moves. I'm going to have it move one square here for a move, and then I'm going to have it explore this area over here. Now, sadly, I do have to complete my move before I can complete another action, so I'm wasting a lot of movement because Night Feather actually has a movement of 3, but that's okay. We're going to draw our first, hallway tile here, or corridor tile, because we already have a room. You always draw room, then corridor, and so on and so forth. So we have this T-shaped intersection here, and it has to be placed with this blue one facing this direction right here. We'll place this right here connected to this door, and I get to move in when you do an explore action. I do have 0 actions left because every character does get to take 2 actions. I will put this into the discard pile, and that completes Night Feather's turn. And to do that, we're going to signify that by putting a little token on our character cards, just like that. Night Feather does have a passive power called Swift Reactions. When this hero makes an explore action and is placed on the current tile, they can use a dodge action, which allows me to place myself in an adjacent zone, but I don't need to. There's only 2 zones on this tile, here, and I'm okay right where I am. We do have to draw a challenge aspect card because that is what's the symbol on the bottom of our card here for our corridor. It's right down there. So we'll draw the top one and see what happens. We have found card number 165. It says, Honor Among Thieves. A kobold darts out of the darkness, quickly frisking you when suddenly it pauses. Is that fear you see in its eyes? If the reputation track shows 2 or more corruption, return this card to the vault. If the reputation track shows less than 2 corruption, the hero takes a target number 14 dex action roll. If they fail, discard 3 gold, return this card to the vault. Either way this goes, it's not going to be the end of the world because I don't have any gold to begin with. We spent it up all the gold we have. Funny enough, I do have a character that is very good at dexterity. Night Feather is the one who triggered this, and this character has +2 to this. So I'm going to roll this just right here. We did get a 14, so we were able to pass this test, meaning we would not discard 3 gold. Sadly, of course, like I said, we didn't have 3 gold, so it didn't really matter which way this went. We're going to return this card to the vault, which means that this card will go back to the box, and we probably won't see it again. We'll now be moving to Dawnguard's turn. Dawnguard is going to move 1, 2 to right there. The character's speed only is 2, so we're good there. Now I'm going to do another explore action. Since we did a corridor, now we have to do a room. We'll grab room number, 6 here. We'll reveal it. It looks like a square room with a door. Also, there is a Bardsung token and potentially a secret door over here if we wish to. We'll place this tile right here, and it does touch the token. So we get to remove this chest and place it out on this tile on the area where the Bardsung symbol is. So I'm going to place our chest right there, and I get to move in for free. This card also shows a challenge down here, so we're going to grab another challenge card and see what befalls Dawnguard. We're going to look at number 7. It says, Wounded Hobgoblins. Several bandaged hobgoblins lay across the ground groaning in pain. Place D4 corpse tokens on the current tile. Distribute across zones in as evenly as possible. If the heroes move onto the same zone as a corpse token, they make a TN10 action roll. If they fail, replace each corpse token in that zone with a brigand. The brigand begins with the wounded token. Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Now this is going to give me 1 gold right here. I'm going to place this right here. We're going to deal with that. Wow. Here are our 4 corpse tokens. Place them out just like that. Now the good news is this character is very good, Dawnguard, at charisma. So I'm going to be okay here. Let's just read this card one more time to make sure we're going to do this right. If a hero moves into the same zone as a corpse token, they make a TN 10 roll. So I'm going to have to make a TN 10 roll because I did move on to that. So we're just going to roll our die right here. I got a 17, so we're going to be just fine right now. But if we move up here, again, we're going to have to make this roll. I'm going to place this in the initiative order track at the very back because it does have this sustained one right down, or delayed, sorry, this delayed tag right down there. With Dawnguard completing the 2 actions, we're going to move over to Skull Splitter. I don't really know what to, I think I'm just going to move Skull Splitter over here, and then I think Skull Splitter will explore this tile over there. We're going to grab a corridor card and see what he has found. He has found, of course, I was really worried about this, he found a bunch of bad guys. So we're going to have to place out a bunch of bad guys, and we're going to be placing the tile in either way I want. I can either make it extend out that way, or I can rotate it so this faces down. But if it does face down, I'm going to hit this edge of the board, so it'll be an illegal placement. So I'm going to be placing it out straight ahead of me, and I'm going to be placing these monsters down based on what they are listed in the campaign book. Our tile will go right here, and we're going to place a brute right there, a brigand right here, and a raider right here. 3 monsters right away. I do, of course, get to move in as a free action, and that is my 2 actions. So he's done for the turn, but now we're going to reshuffle the entire initiative order because we have started a combat. And we do have to draw a combat challenge as well. Let's see what we have found. We have found Spear Trap. A Spear Trap hangs from the ceiling if there is a way to use it to your advantage. If the hero has a lever token, we do not defeat an enemy of the hero's choice, then discard the token. Otherwise, the hero can spend a toolkit to make a TN 8 action roll. If they pass, defeat an enemy on the hero's choice. If the hero fails the roll or doesn't spend a toolkit, this card has no effect. I don't see why we don't try to do that. Let's take out one of these guys. That brute would be awesome to remove from the board. So let's grab our D20 and see what we get. I do not have any bonus to this, so we're just going to roll it, and I got a 3. So sadly, this did not take effect, and I do have to spend one of my toolkit tokens, so we're going to take that token and we're going to flip it to the used side. Now, I can replenish these at the end of our adventure for 7 gold each, or there might be something else that allows us to reflip over those tokens. We'll take all of our cards here and give them a good old truffle shuffle. Now that we got the backs of these cards all covered up, I don't know what they are, which is pretty awesome. I do recommend doing this. Of course, some of these cards do flip, but that's okay. We'll be able to flip the card over when we need to, and I'll show you what I mean by that. For example, this Raider, which one is it? There might be one out here. This one flips. So for example, we'll just take this one, take it out of its sleeve, and just flip it over if it needs to and put it right back in. Not that big a deal. It's easily done, and it keeps this track really nicely looking awesome. So there we go. We have our order starting with Night Feather. The Brute will go next. Dawnguard, Brigand, Skull Splitter sadly is last, and then we have this Raider. Skull Splitter does have an ability here called Warming Up. If Skull Splitter makes an Explore action, replenish one of the fate each time Skull Splitter suffers a wound in the following round. So that's going to be this round right here. So I'm going to place this card on him just to remind myself that that is taking place. When you do get to the end of the round, you have to roll the event die. We actually haven't made it to the end of the round yet because our round was kind of interrupted when we walked into this room and found a whole bunch of enemies. Night Feather will move 1, 2, 3 to right there. And at this point, Night Feather is going to use Throwing Knives. I'm going to spend one of my Fate tokens to be able to use this. It says add +1 to this hero's attack range during this attack. So we're going to make an attack with our Throwing Knives against that Raider there. And our Raider does have a disadvantage when it comes to melee or physical attacks, I should say. So I'll be rolling with advantage against that creature. Our Raider has a 10 target number, so that's what I need to hit with Night Feather. Night Feather is using Throwing Knives, which does activate with Dexterity, so I do get +2 to this roll. So we'll roll with advantage, rolling 2 dice. We got a 14, I'll take that one. The 7 can go away. So I got a total of 14, 15, 16. At this point now, we're going to try to trigger a critical hit. In order to do that, I need to roll a d6 and get above that number there. And I got a 4, so we meet or beat that number, so I'm able to do a critical hit to this. And if our critical hit is right, it's going to do 2 damage. Now remember, everything in this game to a point has 2 health. And once you do 2 health, you're going to check out this symbol up here. When I do 2 damage to a Raider, it is going to die, meaning I will gain 1 gold. I'll take that gold, put it right up here in the gold pile, and I will flip over one of my fate tokens because we had to use it when we attacked with the throwing knives. And I got the gold from this not because I killed the raider, but because we were able to remove this card from the track. Nightfall has completed the actions that this character has. We'll move over to the Brute. We'll check to see what it's going to do. First, it has this ability called Defensive Line. This enemy and other hobgoblin enemies in the same zone can't suffer more than 1 wound from a single attack. So that didn't pertain to the Raider because it wasn't in the same zone. And we're going to see what initiative. It's going to be using this card right here for its AI step. And that card is going to be its Disciplined card. So we'll take a look and see what it's going to do. We're going to start at the top and go down. When any one of these is triggered, we will stop because these are all technically one type of action because of the brackets here. Attack the hero in the same zone, that's not going to happen. Charge. Hero in an engaged zone, there is none. We're going to charge a hero in an unengaged zone and then move towards the closest hero. This Brute has a 2 speed. Let's see if it can charge to a hero in an unengaged zone. It certainly can. Of course, Skull Splitter is 2 zones. 1, 2. It's going to move over there and make an attack. To block the Brute's attack, we need to get a target number of an 8. And we're going to use Skull Splitter's ability here, or not ability, sorry, but he has only 0 here. So he can't actually add anything to his defense. Some of our other characters do get plus their defense, but he does not. So he got a 14. He's totally fine. He does not get hit by the Brute. We'll put a token on Nightfeather and the Brute, and we'll move into Dawnguard. Dawnguard is quite a bit away from the battle, so we better get back to the battle and help our guys out. Oh, am I kidding? I'm going for the treasure. We're going to move right up here to try to get that treasure. And of course, we have to take care of this card. I have to roll a charisma check. I have to roll a charisma check. We'll see how we do. We got a 10 plus 2, so we do not disturb the wounded hobgoblins. I did realize I played this wrong. I was supposed to roll D4 people to see how many we place. We're supposed to place 1. So I'm putting myself already on expert mode. So I am going to get rid of a few of these tokens, but that's okay. We're going to still keep the 1 right here, so we are going to have to run back through it. That's only fair because I kind of screwed up. We'll go ahead, grab our treasure, see what we find, and hopefully it's something we can use. Last time we got a rune, which we can't really use. Let's see what we found. We found a topaz. It says this hero can re-roll the first attack roll of each turn. What I meant by when I can't use it is, I noticed this just a little while ago, I have 0 slots here. You can only slot things in when you have slots to put these in. So I couldn't put the Rune of Agility on this. It does not have any slots. Though the Blessed Mace, it does have a slot, so I could slot this topaz into this Blessed Mace if I want to, and I don't see why I wouldn't. One thing I can do with this is I could trade this, and I think there's a better person that this would actually suit, this gem. The way that exchanging treasure works is that anytime during the round, I can exchange treasure cards from their inventory. Exchange treasure cards are removed from one hero's inventory and then added to the other one. Note that any type of exhausted cards would still remain exhausted. Do note that any upgrade cards that have been added to an equipment card is no longer in the hero's inventory and can't be exchanged. So for example, if I actually did put this on my Blessed Mace, I could then not give this to somebody. I think it's kind of weird that I could just give this to somebody right now. Like I could give this to Skull Splitter just right now, even though I'm 3 whole rooms away. So the way I think I would like to play it is I have to at least be in the same tile in order to be able to transfer this over to him. That's the way I'm going to play it. I don't believe that's how it is in the rules. I know I'm probably doing this my own way. Just to let you know what the real rule is, though, I believe you can do it at any time in a dungeon on the turn. So there we go. This person is done. Dawnguard moved and grabbed a treasure. Having completed Dawnguard's turn, we're going to move into the Brigand. And the Brigand is ferocious. So the Brigand will start by attacking a hero in the same zone or charge to a hero in an unengaged zone. If that can't be accomplished, then it will charge to a hero in an engaged zone, and otherwise it would just move towards the closest hero. Well, looking at how our board is, it can either attack her character in the zone it's in. That's not going to happen, so it's going to charge to an unengaged zone, and yes, it's going to charge right through over to that zone and attack Nightfeather. Our Brigand has a target number of 9, so that's what I need to do in order to dodge this attack. I got a 15, so we totally dodged the Brigand's attack. That's going to bring us to Skull Splitter's turn. He'll be the next one to go, and I think he's going to take on that Brute. Skull Splitter has some really cool powers. Now remember, when you do an action, you can do as many actions of the same type as you want, but you can only do one ability at a time. So I could not do Wild Swipe twice if I wanted to, but which I probably would, but I can't. So we're going to start by attacking with Wild Swipe, and then we're going to move into Frenzy. The Brute has a target number of 8, but if we look right up here, he has protection or resilience against physical attacks. He's got a resistance to it, so I'm at disadvantage. So I have to roll an 8 or better on 2 dice. I got a 4 and a 3, and sadly, I have +3 to my strength, and I still didn't beat it because that's only going to be a 7. So we're going to move into our Frenzy, and Frenzy, if you notice, does have a fate token here, so we are going to have to flip over one of our fate tokens to use it. We're going to roll 2 dice. Now, one thing I could do is I could use my other fate token to add a d4 to this roll if I want to hopefully hit that 8, but I'm going to trust my dice. We got to trust our dice and see how we do. We barely did it, but we got it. 5 + 3 is 8, so we were able to wound him. We now have to see if we're able to crit this character. Our Skull Splitter crit, his roll is a d10, which is out of control. So we'll roll the d10 and see if we're able to crit this character. We got a 6. The crit is a 6, but it has its defensive line, which states this enemy and any other hobgoblin enemies in the same zone can't suffer more than 1 wound from a single attack. So even though I crit it, which would have done 2 wounds, I'm only able to do the 1. At this point, I am going to do my chained attack. If you see the symbol down here, it allows us to chain the attack by spending another Bardsung or fate token to recreate the same attack, or I can use another attack if I wish to. We're going to roll up 2 dice because it still has that physical resistance, and we got a 4 again, so that means we missed. We got it, +3 is 7. That's no good. We have no fate tokens left. One thing I could have done with Skull Splitter here is he does have a power that says during your turn, Skull Splitter can suffer a wound to ignore the ability's first fate cost, which we may do sometime down the line, but right now I think we're doing okay. Now that everybody's gone, we'll move into our end phase. This is where we would check for any type of conditions that would be affecting our enemies or our heroes based on tokens. Also, any of our delayed cards would activate. We have a delayed card. It's this one, but we already know how it works. It's just as I walk around, this is going to take place. We have to roll a d10, or we have to do a charisma check on it. We're going to roll our event die and see what we get. We got a 3. If you get a 1 or 2, an event will happen, which is where we're going to place that echo token down into the dungeon, but it did not. It rolled a 3 through 6, so nothing is going to happen to us. So then we'll shuffle up our cards and go into the next round. We'll place the wound out on the board for that brute, and then we're going to redo our initiative. This card should be gone, and he's dead. I was able to take him out. So we're going to shuffle these up and see what happens to our characters here. Hopefully we get to go first, because I'd really like to take out that brute before it does something really bad. Skull Splitter, that's perfect for you to go first. Actually, I was hoping that Dawn Guard would go first so I could get that ruin to him. Okay, we have to take out the brute, or the brute is going to probably strike back against us. We'll see how it all transpires. We'll start with Skull Splitter. Skull Splitter is going to use his Wild Swipe first. That's going to be his plan. And then we'll move into Frenzy potentially. We'll roll both our dice. I need an 8 or better in order to hit. I got a 13 and 11. That is going to be enough. And remember, our brute already has 1 damage, and I can't crit this character. But when I do the 2 damage, it does show that I'm going to flip this card. So we're going to take this up. He's going to, what they call, I guess, heat up. He's going to be now at a 10. And at this point, I am going to take a wound. I'm going to grab 1 wound card and put it with Skull Splitter. And we're going to be able to use our fate without having to actually have any fate symbols. So we're going to use our Frenzy here. Hopefully hit. He no longer has resistance to defense or to physical attacks. So this time we're going to roll it up and see how we do. I need to get a 10 or better this time. And I got a 6 + 3 is only 9. Oh, I missed by 1 again. Oh, that's terrible. So he has missed, and it actually is going to be the brute's turn now. So the brute is going to need, or I shouldn't say that, Skull Splitter needs a 10 to block this hit. Let's see if he's able to do that. He got a Bardsung. Yes. So if you get a Bardsung, that means you automatically passed, and you get to refresh one of your fate tokens. Now, one thing I missed, even on the other side, it has this ability here. I was supposed to push Skull Splitter on my last attack. I totally forgot to do that. I have a tendency to forget that a lot with brutes because I'm normally thinking that things only trigger on hits, but I have to remember the brute does trigger on a miss. So I'm going to push him over here. I'm supposed to do it in an advantageous spot for the enemy. I'm going to remove this token. We already did the 2 damage to the brute to flip him to his heated up side. So there, I think that's where we're going to stand for that. And that will bring us to Nightfeather, who is probably going to stab this guy quite a lot in the face. With our piercing strike, we need a 9 or better in order to hit him. We got an 8 + 2 is 10, so that's enough. We were able to hit him. Let's see if we're able to crit this guy. To crit him, I need to get a 4 or better. And I get to add +2 because he's the only person in this zone. So I get 2 + 2 is 4. We were able to crit him, so he is going to take 2 damage, and he will, according to our card, die and give us 1 gold. So we have 2 gold now up in our gold stash. We'll remove him from the board, and I do have the ability to dodge if I want to, so I could dodge into this room, but that would be suicide because he's in there. I don't want to go in there. I'd rather have him fight Skull Splitter, which is who he's actually going to attack if I don't do anything about being in his square, because his AI card is a little bit different. He's got that ferocious one now instead of the disciplined one that he started on the other side. Night Feather's done. Let's move into Dawnguard. Dawnguard's out of the battle. We need to get this person back. I do have to place a door down. This tile showed that there was a door going this way. I totally missed it and forgot to place it down. We're going to move 1-2 with our first action. Our second action is 1-2 over to there. I do have to roll to see if we're able to get by this. I got another Bardsung, so that's going to refresh one of our fate tokens, I believe. Even on these skill checks, I think it still refreshes one of the fate tokens, so I'll flip that one back over. That's the end. I'm going to just discard this card, and I do get 1 gold for this. If we have to come back, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave it right here, but I'm already going to take my gold for that just so I don't forget, because I should get that because this card has a gold on it. At this point, I guess we're done with Dawnguard, which means we're done with everybody. So we do have to go to the event phase. We'll roll our d6 and see what happens. We got a 4. Nothing's going to happen, so we'll shuffle up our marching order. The Brute is the only one left as the enemy. Let's just take him out and keep on moving. At least that's my plan. Let's see how it goes. Oh, yeah, Skull Splitter. Then Night Feather, the Brute, and Dawnguard. Oh, this is going to be great. Anyway, hopefully we can take the scout before he can attack. This might slow Skull Splitter down a little bit. We're going to move in here and attack because that means that's going to be his turn. And the rest of the guys, at least, actually it's not going to slow him down because the rest of the guys can all catch up then. At this point, I need a 10 or better with my card here. I got a 12. Let's see if we crit. I have to roll a d10 and see what we get. We got a 7, so that is way more than a 4. So this person's going to take the 2 damage. That's going to be to kill it, and I'm going to grab 2 more coins. Getting 2 more coins will bring our coin total up to 5. That's so good. And we'll remove our Brute from the board, and that's it for Skull Splitter. We'll move into Night Feather's turn next. Night Feather's going to move 1, 2, 3. No, I lied. Night Feather's going to go 1 and close this. No, we can't close the door. We'll leave Dawnguard behind. He's going to move 3 to right there. That's going to be, he's only going to do 1 action this turn. I'm going to wait. Hopefully this is a smart plan. Dawnguard's going to go next. Dawnguard's going to move here for 1, then shut this door. This will help keep the Echo token at bay. Whenever an Echo token is placed into the dungeon, it's going to connect to anything that is in its area is what they call it. So anything that is between open doors all the way up to your character. So by closing this door, it'll keep this token from being in the same area we are, and we won't have to worry about wanting monsters right away. Of course, they probably will catch up to us. Dawnguard is also going to pass the topaz over to Skull Splitter. And Skull Splitter is going to equip this topaz, and he's going to do it. I don't see why I don't do the Destroyer's Axe because that sounds super cool. So now I'm able to re-roll their first attack roll each turn. We'll move into the event phase and see how we do. I've got a 6, so again, nothing happens. With our turn completed, we will again move into the next round. I'll shuffle up our order and see who goes. I have seen people using a variant where you can just keep the same order, but I don't like to do that, mainly because since playing with Dawnguard and Dawnguard having the ability to pin people to the board, I want to always make sure I shuffle this and have people going when they're supposed to go. Always remember that no matter how you play the game, you always must have fun. That's the most important thing. 1, 2, because board games are meant to be fun. I'm going to move 2 here, and then we're going to explore and see what we find with our guys here. We have found a room full of guys. This is going to be amazing. All right, and I get to place this down however I want. I'm probably going to place it like that is my guess. Let's go grab that tile. This is going to be awesome. It's a huge giant room. It does touch the treasure token, so we're going to place it just like that and put our treasure back out on the board right over there. Now we need to populate this with all the rest of these features. We'll place out a Brute and a Brigand right there, a Raider right here and right in the middle. Then we have this Brigand here, and then we have our Butcher. Our Butcher's coming back as well. We saw him in the first playthrough, and I have to admit, it's really cool to be able to play a game with all these awesome painted miniatures. Last time we did it, I didn't have them all fully painted yet. If you're interested in seeing another playthrough, so some great painted miniatures, please check out Dale the Casual Gamer. He did a great playthrough with a fully set of painted miniatures. It was awesome to see it all in action. I do have a door token or door here, but instead of placing out the big one, I'm going to put this here for now for filming purposes, but later we'll put down our door because it's just super cool to have on the board. Next, we have to draw our battle aspect goal, and let's see what we have found. We have found animosity. Some of these goblins took a little less inclined to attack you and go after their mates. If the reputation track shows 2 or more corruption, defeat each enemy on this tile. Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing. I could have defeated all of these enemies, but sadly our reputation is only, I guess, at -1 right now. I guess there isn't a 0. There's either +1 or -1. So we're at -1 right now. I have to return this to the vault, so we're never going to see this card again. Well, there's a potential we might, if as going forward it might tell us to shuffle them back into the deck, but where we stand now, that is no longer going to be in our aspect deck. Let's shuffle up our cards and see what happens. We have a mountain of characters that we've got to shuffle up. I don't think I've shuffled up this many cards before. Oh, it's going to be awesome. We'll shuffle these all up, see who goes in what order, and I really hope we go before some of those guys, or it's going to be really quick. Oh, good. Nightfeather's going first. That's good and bad, because Nightfeather going first means that he'll be doing stuff before everybody else, but also he may be the target of a lot of different attacks. Then we have the Brigand. We have the Raider. Oh, no, look at all these people going. Oh, the Brute. Then Dawn Guard, the Butcher, and lastly, we have Skull Splitter. Really, Skull Splitter is bringing up the rear. Let's start with Nightfeather. Since Skull Splitter examined the room, he does get to step into that room, and he has warming up ready to go. If Skull Splitter makes an explore action, replenish 1 fate each time Skull Splitter suffers a wound in the following round. So we'll put that, I'm going to actually put that on his card so we can make that potentially happen. Or actually, maybe I'll stick it right out here so we can maybe remember it. We'll see if we remember it. There's a 50-50 chance. I give myself a 50-50 chance. That's not too bad. Nightfeather is going to have to try to figure out, I want to get in there and do something, but I'm gonna have to move 1 to do it, and then the second would attack would be to actually, I could like throw a throwing knife. That wouldn't be a bad idea. We're gonna do a throwing knife. I am going to spend 1 of our fate tokens to throw 1 of our throwing knives, and I'm gonna hit this guy. Or maybe that's not a good idea. There's so many different things this character can do. It's starting to get really cool. I think we're going to use Taunt. We're going to use Taunt. That's my plan here. Instead of spending our Fate token, we're going to use Taunt, and we're going to use it on, I think we're going to use it on this, I think we're going to use it on the Butcher. Or else I could do a throwing knife and instantly kill something. The problem is I'm afraid all these guys are going to come down and attack him, and he only has 4 health. So if we taunt somebody, I can dodge back out of there before any of this stuff starts coming down. And I think that might be my best plan. So we're going to taunt the Raider in. Is that going to help? Nope, it's not. We'll taunt the Butcher. What the heck? We'll taunt the Butcher, see what happens. The Butcher has an 11. We'll see if we hit this. I got a 16. That is enough to hit. Let's see if we're able to do a crit. We are not going to crit, so instead we just do the taunt, which is going to allow me to dodge, and then I can move this character into my square if I wish to, and you bet I do. Interestingly enough, it'll move it right into this square, and that's going to be okay. I think we're going to be just fine with that. Nightfeather finished. We'll move into the Brigand. There are 2 Brigand models on the board. We have to activate them, and the order of activation is going to be the most northern model activates first and then goes in a clockwise motion. So it is going to start with this one, and then this one will go second. These both have ferocious, so the first thing they are going to do is attack the person in the same zone or charge a hero in an unengaged zone. So this is going to charge 1, 2 to here. This next model will charge a character in an engaged zone, and since this person actually should charge to here, sorry, this one is going to charge 1, 2 to right here because these are both engaged zones, and Nightfeather is closer to the top of the initiative track. Now let's make some attack rolls, or I should say our defense rolls. Skull Splitter will go first, needs a 9 or better. Totally we're able to block that. Next is going to be Nightfeather, sorry. Nightfeather needs to get a 9 as well, and we got a 15, so both our characters block the attacks. Our Raiders are next, and again, we'll start with the one in the most northern position, and we have Cautious Attack for them. If we look at their card right here, they have Cautious and then Retreat. So we'll take a look, and it says right here, attack the closest hero. This is the closest hero, and then it will move until the closest hero is in attack range. So nope, it's just going to attack the closest hero, and both of these characters are going to attack that one because it is the closest hero. Then I have to look at their range. They have 2 range, so they are going to be able to get to me 1, 2 squares. Yep, totally, both can attack. I'm going to roll 2 dice because they're both needing 10s in order to block these. I was able to use a Bardsung, and sadly, I got hit. So the Bardsung is going to flip over our token, and sadly, funny enough, I'm taking 1 damage, which means this would fire off as well, but I'm already at full fate. I have all 3 of mine in front of me. So I'm just going to take a wound card and place it with Skull Splitter. He has 2. He only has 7 total health, so he can only take 5 more. The Brute is disciplined. He is going to attack the hero in the same zone or charge a hero in the same zone. I shouldn't say or. If it can't do this one, it's going to do this one. There's nobody in the zone, so it's going to charge 1, 2. Its speed value is 2, so it is going to be able to get to us, and it's going to hit Skull Splitter. Skull Splitter needs an 8 or better in order to block this. He did get a 10, so it takes no damage. Our monsters have finally finished. We're going to move on to Dawnguard. Then it will be the Butcher. Sadly, Dawnguard cannot defeat the Butcher. Really like to. Instead, I'm going to move into here and attack. I lied. I'm not going to attack. Dawnguard has this ability here. At the start of an encounter, place 3 devotion tokens on this card. The hero can spend devotion tokens in place of fate. So I am going to spend one of my devotion tokens to be able to pin Nightfeather to the top, which means that character will be going first in the next round. It says here, move this hero or another hero 1 space left or right on the marching order. The hero then gains pinned. So we'll be pinning this character right here. And it does cost me a fate token to use, which is why I'm going to spend one of my devotion tokens. Since we decided not to actually attack with Dawnguard, we're going to move over to the Butcher. And the Butcher has an interesting set of initiative or AI cards here. I think it's really cool how they do some of these guys. We have Vengeful. Vengeful states that this is going to attack the hero with a grudge token. What's a grudge token? Well, if you look down here, it says never forgets. When the hero defeats this enemy, they place the grudge token on the dashboard. And the grudge token does persist between encounters. So this grudge token is on Nightfeather. So Nightfeather will get attacked by this Butcher. I need an 11 in order to not take any damage. I got a 13. That's fantastic. So I'm not going to take any damage at all. The only problem is, even though this one misses, I still am going to take a bleeding token. This means that at the beginning of the event phase, when I roll the event die, I'm going to have to add +1 to that die roll, meaning there's going to be a better chance that I am going to have to deal with the Echo token. I could get rid of this by resting. When you rest, you have to be in an area where there aren't anybody. You have to spend one of your campfire tokens, and at that point, your characters can then rest, which will allow them to get rid of their conditions and also heal up a wound. And on top of that, the campfire token that you used, it becomes kind of a checkpoint. So if all of your characters fall in battle, you can restore at that checkpoint instead of just losing the entire encounter. Skull Splitter's in the same place as this Brute, so we're going to try to take him out. I'm going to start by using Frenzy. We're going to give this a shot. I'm going to use Frenzy first, so I'm going to spend one of my Fate tokens. I need to get an 8 or better on 2 dice here. I got a 9 as my lowest die, so that is enough to do a wound. I'm not going to roll for critical because this guy can only take 1. He can't take a critical wound. And at this point, I am going to activate my chained attack here. Last time I used this, I really didn't explain it very well. It's a different type of attack that was found in some of the expansion material. Unlike normal abilities, chain attacks can be made up to twice per turn. After resolving a chain attack that hit an enemy, the hero can spend another one of my fate tokens to immediately make the same or another chain attack as a free action. Chain attacks are made as free actions and can't generate extra attacks. And the most the hero can ever attack in one turn is 6 times. If I can ever get my guy to attack 6 times, I am going to be super happy. But that's probably not going to happen. And so I'm going to chain this. I do need to get that 8 again on a 2 dice here. I got an 8 and a 9, so both do hit, which means that we did a second point of damage. So this card is going to flip. We're going to fire this guy up. And at this point, Skull Splitter now is going to use Wild Swipe. Now that did cost me 2 fate tokens to use Frenzy and then also chain it. At this point now, I am going to use Wild Swipe and try to take this guy out. I need a 10 or better, and I'm going to roll. Oh, should I? Maybe I'm going to do this. I am going to use my fate token. I only have 1 left, but that's okay. I'm going to spend this fate token to be able to roll a d4. I really want to get this guy. I got a 16 plus 4 is 20. That's way more than I need. Now we need to see if we're able to crit this guy. Oh, I got a 2. I didn't crit him. Oh no, that's so sad. We only do 1 wound to him, but at least the important part is he no longer has that resilience or protection against physical attacks, and also he's not giving that extra ability to all of the people around him. That is the end of the round, so we're going to roll our event die, and we got a 1, so we do have to place the Echo token into the dungeon. We'll drop our echo token right here, and it will activate anything that's in the same area as it is. So this, and this are all the same area. My door is blocking this from getting into that area. But if it moves again, it will move into that area, and then this will now be its area and will be dealt with by the closest person. So at this point, it would be one of these two that would trigger the effect of this token. Now, sadly, I have no fate. I used it all, and I'm going to shuffle these all up. Now, Night Feather is pinned to the front, so Night Feather is automatically going to go first in this round, which is going to be really good, so hopefully he can take somebody out before more bad things happen. We're going to shuffle these up and see who goes next. We have our Butcher. Oh, I need to take that guy out really badly. Then we have the Raiders. Oh, look at all this. Everybody's going to go first again before my guys do. That's going to be absolutely devastating. Night Feather hopefully can take out this Butcher, and then we'll just have to deal with the rest of these guys. Night Feather is going to start by taunting our Butcher. I need an 11 or better in order to taunt him. I got the Bardsung symbol. Yes, that's perfect. So we're able to get back one of our fate tokens that we desperately needed. I'm now able to dodge. I'm going to take him with him. I forgot to roll to see if I crit. We're going to do that right now. And I don't have to see if I crit him. I forgot that the Bardsung symbol is an auto crit when it comes to hitting. So we'll look at our taunt card, and not only do I get to dodge, I get to do 1 damage to that Butcher. At this point, I think we're going to still use our piercing strike to try to take him down. I need an 11 or better. Let's see how we do. I got 13. That's enough. I don't think it's going to matter whether or not this crits him. I got a 3 plus 2 because he is the only enemy in the square, and he has a value of 4 right here. So we're going to do 2 damage. Actually, it did matter because if I hit, I don't actually do damage. I only damage if I crit. So that is enough to kill him. I'm going to gain 2 gold. On top of that, I'm going to gain a grudge token. And I did this specifically in this order because he already has that grudge token. So he's not going to gain another one. He'll just keep the one he has. And nobody else has to deal with the grudge tokens that this guy is giving us. Wow, that was a great turn for a Night Feather. On top of that, since Night Feather was able to kill a person by itself, an isolated target here, an enemy the only enemy in the zone, I'm able to flip over another fate token. So we're gaining our fate tokens back. Pinning that character sure did pay off. I do have to remove the pin token after I do the shuffling and placing down the cards. I forgot to do that. And we're going to move into the Raiders' turn next, followed by the Brute, Dawn Guard, Skull Splitter, and finally our Brigands. Let's see what the Raiders do. The Raiders are still using their cautious maneuver here, where they're going to attack the closest hero. So the closest hero is going to be Skull Splitter here. Let's see what happens. The Raiders have a 10 defense, or sorry, a number that I have to hit. I got a 5 fail. 16 is a success, and Skull Splitter is not able to add anything to his defense roll, so he does take another damage. He has taken 3 damage out of 7. Our Brute is ferocious and is going to attack the target in the same square as him. I need a 10 or better to succeed against this. I got a 16, and I'm going to be pushed. And again, I missed that the last time. I think I'm only going to, I guarantee you, I'm only going to get this push about half the time. I always forget about this character's push. We're going to push him into a most unadvantageous position. I'm going to guess there. This character is gone. I should remove that from the board. That's the end of the Raider and also the end of the Brute. It is time for Dawn Guard to go next. I think Dawn Guard is going to... what am I going to do with Dawn Guard? Dawn Guard could strike here. We could use Guiding Strike. And then another thing I could do is I could use Penance. Penance states place a devotion token in the same or adjacent zone. Enemies in that zone... As the enemies in the same zone as the token reduce their speed to 0. Discard this token at the start of the hero's next turn. I could do that. What that will do is that means this guy will not come in and attack, and that's probably going to be a good thing because it's going to go after Skull Splitter. So I'm probably will take this guy out with Skull Splitter him without any problem, but this one moving in would probably be bad news. And instead of attacking, I think again, I am going to have him pin Night Feather to the top. But this time I am going to use one of my fate tokens. I have faith that Skull Splitter will make quick work of that guy. I need a 9 in order to hit this guy, and we got a 15, so that's more than enough to hit him. We're going to see if we can crit this character. I need a 4. Its toughness is only a 4. I got an 8 on my damage roll, so this is going to take 2 wounds. That's enough to kill him. I don't get the gold yet because there are still more Brigands on the board. Skull Splitter does have one more action, but I think we're just going to stand there with him because what's the point of going in here if I already put the token down to prevent these guys from walking in? The Brigand is not able to charge into the zone because of this token. At this point, we're going to move into the end of the turn. There are no tokens or delayed events, so we'll roll our event. Oh no, we got a 2. That's bad. That's going to move our Echo token into the next area, and it's going to activate going after the closest person, which is going to be Night Feather. We're going to draw our encounter cards here. We have these all sleeved up good too, so we don't know what these are. We'll shuffle these up a little bit, and we'll draw our card and see what we got. We have found just an Echo. Safe for now, but something is definitely out there. Echoes don't make themselves, after all. It was that. Place this card next to the marching order. For the remainder of this encounter, subtract 1 from each event roll. Oh, wow. I remember this card. This card is terrible. I'm going to place it right here. These are where a lot of our delayed cards are supposed to go. I'm just going to place that there so I can maybe remember it. Hopefully I'll forget it. That's what I'm really hoping for. We'll remove the Echo token, but I have a feeling we'll be seeing this very soon. I'm just going to place it right down there in that card. Let's grab our cards, shuffle them up, and see the order in which we're going to go. I really like that pinning people ability. That's really good. I like Dawnguard a lot. Dawnguard's a really good support character. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Skull Splitter, Brigands, Brutes. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be really good. Night Feather is going to start. Let's see what happens. Night Feather is going to... do I trust Skull Splitter? I think we're going to move him here. I trust Skull Splitter, but we still have to take out both of these characters before Dawnguard can go, and then what we have to do is deal with the Raiders. Dawnguard can only do 1 damage. That's the only problem with Dawnguard. I wonder if I should move up and attack one of the Raiders and then have Skull Splitter... Oh, I think Skull Splitter can do it. Okay, I've got a plan. He's going to move up 1, 2. And at this point, I am going to use one of my Fate tokens to use my throwing knife on that Raider right there. Our Raiders here are physically vulnerable, meaning that I get to have advantage on my attack against them, and I need to get a 10 or better. Let's see how this goes. I got a 7, which I'm not going to take, but I will take the 11. At this point, we're going to roll to see if we crit this guy, and we got a 5, and he only has a 4 on his toughness, so we did crit. This character is dead. Again, not getting the gold because there is still one out there, but being able to take one off the board and killing an enemy where there's only one in the zone. According to Night Feather's card here, it states, if this hero critically hits an enemy that is in the only enemy in the zone, replenish 1 fate. So I do have to critically hit them. I am able to get back that fate token I just used, and that's going to be super important. It's time for Skull Splitter to go split the heads like he's supposed to. I'm going to attack that Brigand with him. I need a 9 in order to hit this guy. I got an 8 plus 3 is enough. I'm going to roll my crit die. I got a 6. I shouldn't say it's a damage die. And that's enough to go past the toughness. So our Brigand is going to be removed off the board. I'm going to gain 1 gold for that, bringing our gold total up to 8. And I think that's going to be all Skull Splitter is going to do. I was debating about taking a damage to be able to maybe take out the Brute as well with Skull Splitter, but I think we're going to be okay. I'm going to roll defense with Night Feather because the Brute is ferocious at this point, so it's going to attack the hero in the same zone, and that's at the top of the order. I need a 10 or better. Let's see how I do. I got a 9, and I actually do get +1 with Night Feather. Night Feather does have +1 to the defense, so we were able to block that attack. I am still going to get pushed, and I'm going to remember it. The push is going to send my character back 1 space, is how I believe that would happen. I'm going to remove this token at the time now that Dawnguard is going to activate. Dawnguard is going to move in and attack the Brute. The Brute has already taken 1 damage. It's right there. Let's see if we can get him with Guiding Strike. I need a 10 or better in order to hit the Brute, and I did get a 10. I do get to add 2 because of my charisma, but that's enough to hit him. Let's see if we crit, because crit would be really good right now. I did not crit. I would have been able to gain back one of my fate tokens, but instead I am able to push and hit him to do 1 damage, but the push isn't going to happen because he's already dead. We're going to gain 2 gold. That brings our gold total up to 10, which is awesome. I got a massive amount of gold. I'm pretty excited about that. And we'll remove our Brute from the board, and that's going to be the end. Oh no, our Raiders are last. And with our Butcher having pushed Night Feather out of that square, it's going to attack the closest hero, which is going to be Skull Splitter 1, 2 spaces away. So we'll roll and see how that goes. I've got a 50-50 chance of blocking this, and I blocked it. That's fantastic. Nothing happens. We now have to roll our event die and see how we do. I got a 5, but I have to add 1 for my bleeding, and I think I have to add 1 for this. So that's 5, 4, 3. That's still not enough to make it trigger. So we still have to worry about the Echo token. Whew, that's a close one. We're down to only one enemy remaining and nothing's pinned this time. So we'll give these a good old truffle shuffle here and see who's going to go first. It's going to be Skull Splitter followed by Dong. Oh, this guy's super dead. If I can't finish him off this round, there's something wrong with me. Skull Splitter, go smash some skulls. Skull Splitter is going to move 1, 2, and then from here we are going to use our wild swipe to just take this guy out. I need a 10 in order to hit that raider, and remember, he is physically vulnerable, so I'm going to be rolling 2, and I get to take, I'm going to take the Bardsung for sure. That's going to flip over one of my fate tokens. We now have 2 available to us, and that's an auto crit, which means this guy is super dead, and I'm going to gain the gold from that card, bringing our gold total up to 11. Dawnguard is going to move, I guess, 1, 2, and then check out that chest. Let's see what we have found. We have found, what's this? Green herbs. Heal a wound on this hero or another hero in the same zone or an adjacent zone. Okay, this is pretty cool. This is a reusable item. I can use this during an encounter, and then at the end, I can pay 3 gold to reactivate this. I don't see why I don't use this right now. I think we're going to hold on to it, but I can activate that to potentially heal Skull Splitter, who's already taken 3 damage. That's not bad at all. Wow, that's a great find. I'm going to remove our chest, and we're going to go into Night Feather's turn. Night Feather's going to move 1 right to here, and then Night Feather is going to close this door. We're going to, instead of having that token like that, I'm going to put another door down. Look at this. We're blocking all this from the evil token coming our way, just like that. That's the end of the round. We do have to roll up our die and see what happens for our event. We did get a 1, so I am going to place our Echo token back in the dungeon. Our token will be placed right here at the start of the dungeon yet again, and now I have 2 doors at least protecting myself from him. We'll give our deck a good old truffle shuffle, see who goes next. Whoever it is going to be the one that's going to be going to the next room. Let's see who it is. It is going to be Dawnguard, Skull Splitter, and then Night Feather. So Dawnguard will activate first. Dawnguard is going to move to right there. We could either go out this entrance here, or I can use this secret door. If I wish to, I could use the secret door by spending a toolkit. So we're using our second toolkit, but that's okay. We can use our gold to replenish them. Also, I do want to let you know that if there are no enemies on the board, it's free to close doors. But if there are enemies in the initiative track, you have to spend a toolkit in order to close some of these doors. I don't want to do that. I'm going to use a toolkit, though, on this secret door. And we're going to grab our next corridor card and see what it is. We found a big giant X thing here. And I was almost wondering, which way do I have to put it? It doesn't matter. It's all pretty much the same except for where that token is. And we do have to draw a challenge event here. We'll see what that is. First, let's go grab our tile. We're going to place it like this. That way, if something does happen, it's going to probably trigger on top of that, which will be totally fine. We're going to move into the room here. Actually, no, I think I want to trigger it this way, just in case it does have to trigger. That way it's triggering on me and I have a chance to deal with it. We'll draw a card, see what it says here. Trapped prisoner. A weak voice startles you. A whisper from a hole in the ground ahead. A hero can spend an action to make a TN12 strength action roll. If they pass, gain 3 gold, then discard this card. If they fail, they suffer fatigue and exhaust 1 fate. Oh, that'd be bad. Okay, so this is going to be a delayed card, so I'll put that in our queue near the end. That's the end of Dawnguard. We'll move into Skull Splitter. Skull Splitter is going to move 1, 2, and Skull Splitter is going to use an action to do this because he gets +3 to this roll. I don't see why I wouldn't do this. Let's roll it up and see what we get. We got a 17. Oh, that's so good. We were able to succeed. We're going to gain 3 gold. Our gold total is now what? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This card doesn't say anything about returning it to the vault, so I'm going to just discard this card. We'll probably see that again, I hope, because that card was awesome. Night Feather is going to move 1, 2, 3, and then 1 to right there. Our goal is to be going straight ahead in the next turn, but we have to roll our event die and see what happens. We got a 5, so again, nothing happens with the Echo token. Oh, super lucky. We'll be going into our next room, I'm guessing, this turn, but let's see what happens. I'm going to shuffle these up and see who gets to go first. I'm hoping that Dawnguard goes. I really like Dawnguard going first, because Dawnguard can check out what's in front. Oh, that's perfect. Then Night Feather and Skull Splitter bring up the rear. That's actually a fantastic order. Dawnguard will move 1 to right there and then explore. Remember that whenever you go to do another action, you have to complete your other action first, meaning even though I have 2 speed, I can't use 1 here, explore, and then spend another action or another movement to move in. Though when you do explore, you automatically get to go into that room for sure. We'll draw our next room and see what we have found. I was hoping to be going straight, but that's okay. At least we're going to land on top of the treasure so we can get that. And there's nothing to fight in here. Wow, that's weird. We'll place it just like so, meaning that I'm able to put my treasure chest right there, and I'll have to grab a challenge aspect card and see what we have found. We found a, whoops, threw it over there. It says, Shrine to Hurana. Prove yourself worthy of the goddess of the hunt. Shuffle the wandering monster deck and draw until there are 2 enemies. Place both on this tile. Attacks against these enemies have advantage. If both enemies are defeated, each hero gains 2 XP, and the card is returned to the vault. And I'm going to gain 1 gold. Wow, that's actually pretty interesting. Okay, well, actually what's really interesting is there's only 2 wandering monsters in here. So I'm just going to grab the giant rat and the giant spider. Those are the only 2 monsters in the wandering monster deck. So I'm going to place them out there, and oh my gosh, really, I've got to take them on? That's pretty awesome. This is, I love these challenge aspect and battle cards. They really bring this game to life. So we have both our giant spider here. This guy looks pretty cool. I painted him up. He looks massively awesome. Pretty excited the way he turned out for sure. We'll put him down on the Bardsung symbol. Then we have our giant rat. Here's our giant rat. I also painted him up quite well. We'll put him down there as well, just like that. Now, Dawnguard moving in does give me the ability to, what is it? Oh, it's this one right here, Fear of God. I have the Fear of God in them. When the hero makes an explore action after placing enemies, place 1 enemy on the previous tile's Bard symbol, which means I could put 1 there if I want to. It doesn't say I have to. Well, maybe it does say I have to. It does say place 1. When the hero makes an explore action after placing an enemy, place 1 enemy on the previous tile. Well, I can do that. Not a big deal. That sounds like a plan anyway, because that way I've got people in back and in front. I can take these both on equal times here. I think this would be really good. I'm really excited for this. This is pretty fun. I'm going to place this right out here to remind myself to get my gold. Actually, I'm just going to take my gold right now. So we're up to 15 gold, which is pretty sweet. I'm going to remove 4 that we have up there and put down that 5er. I'm not going to gain any gold for these, but I'm going to gain experience for these guys. I'm going to move, I don't know which one to move down there though. I'm going to move the rat down there. I haven't actually looked at their cards and what they do very well, so this could be a bad idea. The spider on him one-on-one might not be the best plan. I think these 2 could probably take out this rat. At least that's what I'm hoping for. We do have to shuffle up our deck here now and see who's going to go. I had a great marching order. Now hopefully we can keep the same marching order. This could be bad real fast. All right, we'll shuffle these up, see who's going to be next. It's going to be Skull Splitter, followed by the giant rat, followed by, I think it's going to be the spider next. Let's see. Kind of saw it. No, it's Nightfeather, then Dawnguard, then the spider. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So hopefully we can take out this giant rat. Now notice both of these cards are going to flip when we do 2 damage to him. So it's going to be a total of 4 damage we're going to have to do to all of these monsters. But he might be able to single-handedly take out this giant rat if I get some good rolls. Now I am in the same space as this, or same zone as this giant rat, so I don't have to move. I can just make 2 attacks. We'll start with Wild Swipe and go on from there. I need a 7 to hit the giant rat, and I do get advantage according to the Shrine card. So I'm going to gain advantage on this. I'll take the 14, which is enough to hit. Now I have to see if our damage roll is going to be enough to beat the toughness. And I got a 4, so it's not. I'm only able to do 1 damage. That's not the end of the world. I am going to spend my Fate token now to activate my Frenzy. This is going to be hopefully enough to kill him. We're going to activate the Frenzy to do enough damage here. If we can hit, I got a 5, 6, 7, 8, so that is enough to hit. The critical doesn't really matter here, even though I did do 1. I'm going to do 2 damage. That's going to be enough to fire this guy up. So we're going to flip his card and see what we need to do next. We still need the same number. We'll see now. I could spend, I'm going to chain my attack. I'm going to spend my last Fate token here to try to take this guy out. We do still have advantage on every roll against this guy. We hit with a 14. Now let's see if we're able to crit our character. We got a 7, and that is enough to crit. He has a 3 toughness, so we were able to take out the giant rat in 1 turn. Oh my gosh, this guy's a monster when he actually hits with everything. Oh, I so like Skull Splitter. Skull Splitter just murdered the giant rat. Oh, I feel so sorry for that rat sometimes. Oh, let's see here. Nightfall. My wife would not be sad if I killed a rat, though. That she'd be pretty happy. She's afraid of rats and mice and anything like that. Okay, we're going to go with Nightfeather next. Let's see how he does. We'll remove the rat from the board. Nightfeather is going to move, I think, first, because I have to go 1, 2 into this square in order to attack him. I could move 1 up to here and then use like a throwing knife or something, but I don't have any fate, so we're just going to go right in there and use our piercing strike. Unlike the giant rats, I need a 12 to hit this thing. Let's see how we do against this. I got 2 13s. I'll take one of them. That's fantastic. Now we're going to roll a d6, see if we're able to crit this guy. I got a 4. I do get to add 2 because of my piercing strike, bringing it to 6, which is the 2 damage I'm going to need in order to fire this guy up. So we'll turn his card over and see what changes. I got to look at all this stuff this guy's got. He's going to do a lot of bad things to me, trust me. That's the end. I'm going to then miss, with my critical, I can still dodge out of the way, which I might do. Maybe I won't. We'll see what happens. I think I'm going to stay right there. I have faith in Night Feather, I hope. Night Feather is going to get attacked, though, because this person is ferocious. Attacks the hero in the same zone. So even if I would have dodged out, Night Feather was ahead in the initiative track, so this character still would have moved in and attacked. He would have moved into the unengaged zone and attack. Now, I'm going to have to get attacked by this guy, and right now with this symbol means my defense is at a disadvantage, so I need to roll a 12 or higher, and I have disadvantage on that roll. If I do get hit, I'm going to be poisoned, and I'm going to be taking a serious wound. So I have to roll a 12 or higher on both dice. Let's see how we do. Oh, we did it. We got a Bardsung, and we got a 13. Now, sadly, I can't keep the Bardsung. We got the 13, so that means we don't take any damage. Oh, my goodness, that was absolutely amazing. Oh, it's so good. Interestingly enough, Dawnguard has one more token left. So we're going to spend that to use Steadfast. And I'm allowed to move a person. Move this hero or another hero 1 space left or right on the marching order. So we're going to do that and then pin them. And I'm going to move Night Feather because Skull Splitter isn't going to be able to get there to do the damage I need to have done. So at this point, I'm going to take all 3 of our cards here and give them a good old truffle shuffle. Night Feather hopefully can take this person out before anybody else goes. Otherwise, I might need Dawnguard to go. Now, Dawnguard should have moved. I'm going to move Dawnguard as well. On top of that, I have to roll my event roll as well. So let's see what the event roll is. It's another 5. Wow, we're on fire with those. So I'm going to move Dawnguard, and then we're going to activate Night Feather. The pin that Dawnguard did is the first action. The second action, I'm going to move in there. At this point, Night Feather is going to use the piercing strike in order to try to take this guy out. I do get advantage on this attack, not to mention I would anyway because this person is vulnerable to physical attacks at this point. Let's roll them up. I got a 5 and a Bardsung symbol. So I'm going to take the Bardsung symbol and I'm going to flip my token, giving me back another one of my fate tokens. And this person is probably super dead. But let's see how it goes here. I could potentially still not. Oh, I did barely got him. I get 2 plus the 2 from my piercing strike to give me 4 on my damage roll, which is enough to beat the toughness. I'm not going to get any gold according to this, but I did get the 1 for the Shrine of Hero on a card, and that's going to be the end of this encounter, or this battle. Wow, super cool. I love fighting all these different enemies. So we were able to take out all of the enemies, meaning that this card is going to finish off, and if both enemies are defeated, each hero gains 2 XP, and this card is returned to the vault. So I'm going to remove this, and each character is going to gain 2 XP, meaning Dawnguard and Night Feather both have 3 experience, and Skull Splitter has 2. For the second action that Night Feather is going to do, we're going to pick up that chest. Let's see what we have found. We have found a mysterious coin. An odd relic from a time long past beyond memory. Reroll an action die. Oh, that's so good. He's totally just going to keep that. Because if he can, oh, that's super good for him. He can hit things really well now. Skull Splitter is next. He's going to move 1, 2, 1 to right there. That's the best he can do. Dawnguard, on the other hand, now is going to explore into here and see what we have found. We have found a whole mess of things here. We found a whole bunch of guys, and we also found a nice straight corridor. Now this straight corridor, I believe, is going to go off the map. And that's what you want to do. You want to try to get off the map, and at this point, we're going to place our stairs down. Our stairs are going to go right here. In order for us to take the stairs, all you have to do is be on the stairs and perform an action. But of course, there's some monsters here you might have to deal with as well. We'll have a brigand and a raider. And at this point, we'll shuffle up our initiatives. Oh, actually, he goes right there. And we'll see what happens. I do also want to mention, I know this is late in the playthrough, but see all these circles here and these squares and things like that? The circles mean that you're only going to activate those if you're playing with more than 3. So 4 to 5 characters, you'd have these extra enemies. And these are special things that could potentially be part of the encounter. This particular symbol is not part of our adventure book at this time, and it may come up in the future. Let's grab a battle aspect card and see what we have. Cornered. There is feral. These foes are cornered and desperate, and all the more dangerous for it. Enemies add +2 to their target number if they are the only enemy in the zone. Oh, that's horrible for what was it, Nightfeather. He loves that. This is going to be an ongoing thing that's going to be put at the end here. It's also going to be delayed, so it's always going to be in effect during this battle. It's terrible. We have our enemies in the queue here. We'll shuffle up our cards here, give them a good old truffle shuffle, and see who's going to go first. Hopefully our guys. I want our guys to go first. I like when our guys go first. Oh, that's why I like to go first. I don't like that person, but that's okay. Oh, look at this. This is going to be fantastic. All right, all we got to do is go in there, beat up the raider, and then use the stairs. Actually, I might not even have to fight anybody. I don't have to fight anybody, but the Echo token is so far away that I don't think there's going to be much of a problem. I think we could take both of these characters out without too much issue. I'm going to move 1-2 to right here with Skull Splitter and just kill this guy. These raiders are physically vulnerable, and they have a 10 target number. Now, of course, it's cornered, so I need a 12 or better. I missed, but I do have my rune with me that now states I'm allowed to, the hero can re-roll their first attack roll each turn. So we'll re-roll our first attack roll and see how we do. I got an 11 and 10. The 11 will turn into a 13, which is plenty to hit this guy. Now it's just a matter if we're able to crit him. We'll roll our d10 and see what number we get. Oh, we got a 2. We didn't crit him. We only did 1 damage. Really? Okay, we did 1 damage to that guy. That's the end of Skull Splitter's turn. Now it's the Brigand's turn. Interestingly enough, the Brigand is trying to attack the same zone. Nope, charge to an unengaged zone. Only has a 2 speed, so it can go 1, 2. It cannot get to our characters to an unengaged zone, so it's going to charge into the engaged zone, which is right there, and attack Skull Splitter. My target number is a 9, and it's not cornered anymore, so it doesn't get the +2. A 13 is plenty. I was able to dodge that. I was really hoping Nightfeather could take on a character one-on-one, but it's not going to happen. He's just going to move in 1-2 and attack that raider. No, I lied. We're going to go for the Brigand. The Brigand is not cornered, so I only need a 9 to hit him. I got a 2. I totally missed. Me and my big mouth. I'm just going to take these guys out. It'll be really quick. We'll get some free gold. Nope, I'm missing everywhere. That's the end of Nightfeather. It's time for Dawnguard. Come on, Dawnguard, let's move in here. Now, I think you're about to see what happens when you try to get a whole bunch of people in one zone. You remember, you can have as many people as you want in any zone. There's not a limit to what you can do, but I'm going to attack the raider with him because it's already hit for 1, and we're going to use our Guiding Strike. This raider is physically vulnerable, so I only need to get a 10 or better. Either one of those hit, that's just fine. Now I need to see if I can crit. And I got a 2, which is not enough to crit, but it is enough to do 1 damage. This raider has already suffered 1 damage, so it's going to die, and I'm going to grab 1 gold and place it into our stash, so we now have a total of 5, 10, 15, 16 gold. This brings us to the end of the round. Let's roll our event die and see what happens. I've got a 4, which will activate this thing because the blood token gives it +1, so I need a 3 or better. And of course, we have our card Jest and Echo, which is going to make it 1. So we're at 4. That's enough to move it. It's going to move to right there. So at this point, now we really need to get out of this place. So is it worth maybe fighting these guys? I think so. Everybody gets 1 attack and then can leave. That's the deal. If we can't kill them by then, too bad for us. We're just going to give these a good old truffle shuffle here and see what order we go in. All right, our first person is going to be, let's see if I can see. Oh, it's going to be our Brigand. The Brigand gets a free shot before he runs away, and it's going to attack Nightfeather. Our Ferocious card is going to attack the person in the same zone, and it's going to get a +2 to this because it is cornered. I got a 3. That's not enough. I'm going to take a wound according to the hit down here. So that means that Nightfeather is only taken 1, so I'm not too worried about it. At this point, it is Nightfeather's turn. This is the only character in the zone, so there is a chance I could crit this guy and take him out. But I need to get an 11 in order to hit this person. So let's roll it up, see what we get. We got a 10 +2 because of my dexterity is an 11. Our Piercing Strike is a dexterity-based attack, so we have a 12. Let's see if we're able to crit this guy. We need to get a 4. I've got a 5. That's plenty enough. That's another gold for us, and that's an exit token because we're out of here. Our Brigand is removed from the board. Our second action is to use the stairs with him. Then Dawnguard will use the stairs, and then Skull Splitter will use the stairs. If we look at our progress tracker here, we were able to complete encounter 2. Now, something that's important that you need to know is that down here it says discover lost treasures. That does not mean you get 1 per treasure you find. The first time this is completed, you gain that experience points. You don't gain that anymore. We gained this after we completed our chapter 1 encounter because we got one of the lost treasures at that point. So for this encounter, we are only going to be gaining 1 experience point. We're going to move into the maintenance phase. We'll start with the upkeep step. At this point, we're going to leave all the tokens the same, including our grudge token. We're going to be keeping our grudge token going into the next battle, but I will be losing all of my status tokens and any wounds I have. Our reputation will all remain the same as well. Moving into the gold step, we can spend gold to unexhaust any consumable cards we have. So if we were to say use our green herbs, we could spend the 3 gold to unexhaust it and bring it back in for the next encounter. On top of that, we can spend golds to replenish any of the firewood toolkits or charm. Those are going to cost 7 each. I could spend 10 gold to grab a card from the lost treasure deck, but there are no more cards left in the lost treasure deck. We bought them all, or found them all, I should say. So I'm going to spend 14 gold, giving myself back 1, leaving us with 3 to replenish our 2 toolkits. I like those toolkits. We can carry gold over to the next adventure along with any experience points as well. So we're going to keep these 3 up in our gold stash. The next thing to do is we have to level up. We have a total of 3 plus the 1 that we got for completing this scenario or chapter or mission, I should say, or encounter. So we have 4 total experience, which is a ton of experience points. Some of the things we can do is we could power up one of our stats if we wanted to. We could power this one up to 3. That would cost us 3 experience points. Or we could power one of these up by 1, only costing 1 experience point. Another thing we could do is, again, we could raise up some of our abilities. We cannot change Steadfast. Steadfast no longer be powered up. It's at its max power, which is pretty powerful if you ask me. But we could get Guiding Strike up, or for 3 experience points, we could buy a new skill for this character from the actual skill cards this character has. Dawnguard only has 1 attack. It might not be bad to maybe pick up another attack. Wrath of God, I could do this one. The attack may only be used if this hero has suffered a wound during this round. I don't know how often that's going to happen. If this attack hits, the target can't move into the same zone as the hero for the remainder of this round. So it doesn't cost any fate, and so it hits and pushes and potentially does a damage. The next one is Blinding Light. If this attack hits, attacks made against the target have advantage for the remainder of the round. So there are 3 new attacks I could get, or look at all of these different passive powers that this character has. So there's so many different ways you can kit out each one of these characters. And with 4 experience points, it's going to be bonkers. I'll have to figure out what we're going to do about this. I mean, I have Testament. During the end phase, this hero can spend a devotion token to skip step 4 and not even shuffle the marching order. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. This ability can't be used if the event roll has failed. Oh, okay, well, there's a downside. What's the upside to this thing? During the event, if I power it up, then the event roll pass or fail, it still happens. Look at this Blessing. For only 1, another hero on the same tile gains Bless, which means you get advantage on your next action roll, which isn't bad at all. There's some really cool powers that Dawnguard could get. Now, I can't power up my weapons. They will tell us in the game when those power up. So that will have to wait for another time. But I have 4 experience points, and you may not know all these cards, but you have an idea of what I should do. Maybe I should grab a different passive power, get another attack, or should I power up some of our stats? The same goes true for Nightfeather here. Nightfeather has 4. Again, we could maybe power up our dexterity to 3, making our attack rolls all get +3 to their roll. That's not bad. Or, of course, the same thing here. I've got lots more powers I can get. I can do stuff that has to do with nimble. When this hero would dodge, they can move 1 space left or right on the marching order. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a big fan of moving around in here. Before the damage roll, the hero can spend a fate to upgrade a die, which means I would be rolling a d8 instead of a d6, and that's not even before. This hero can spend a fate to upgrade their die. Okay, so I do have to spend the fate. I could do things like Assassin. I get +2 to the hero's damage roll if the target has been poisoned. And I think I have abilities that can poison people here. I have Poison Blade. Here it is. I can on a critical, I can do a damage and also give poison. If the target is the only enemy of the zone, the attack roll can be re-rolled. Oh my goodness, this is so good. So there's so many different things that this character can do as well. Wow. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do about that character. There's so many cool things you can do. And there's even Skull Splitter. because of his ruin, he already gets plus to his attack rolls. I'm thinking about actually giving him the green herb because he's probably going to be taking the most damage, because with this green herb, that gives me another chance to use something like Frenzy with being able to use Skull Splitter's ability. And look, he's got a bunch more attacks in here that I could grab. All of these probably take what I can toss an axe. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. I can toss it 2 squares. I can toss my axe 2 squares. That's pretty good. A mighty swing is going to cost a fate. It just does a lot of damage. Oh, this thing I think is an AoE attack where it could hit multiple people. I believe, I could be wrong. Mighty Frame, this hero makes Constitution action rolls with advantage. I haven't seen any of those yet, but I'm sure somewhere down the line it might work. Vengeance, if I suffer damage, I get defense. That might actually help at some point. But again, I don't know if I want to suffer damage. Executioner, this costs a fate token here. If the target has a wound token, this attack doesn't cost fate. That's amazing, but it has a wound. I don't know why you really need a critical. Maybe there's obviously maybe the bosses or something could take more damage. Brutal Cleave. Oh my gosh, it does 3 damage. Again, not sure why you would need to do 3 damage, but this attack has disadvantage all the time. Ugh, I don't know about that. Hurl Foe, I could throw somebody. Blood Fury, a Skull Splitter has 1 or more wounds. Add +1 to the damage roll. Here he has a D10 as damage roll. Doesn't need +1 to the damage roll. That's amazing. Iron Skin, I could gain some more defense. So there's, wow, Skull Splitter has a lot going on too. And all these play so differently. I'm really excited about how Bardsung is shaping up. There's a narrative that goes along with our victory. It says, a vital clue presents itself at last. Hobgoblins are ever loose with their tongues as they are willing to fight, and they're boasting boisterously loud. Encourage you hurry on toward an area that looks like a makeshift camp fit for a warlord. Could this be their leader or just a particular savage bandit? To find out, go to page 82. And it's a Reaver Captain. We'll be taking on a Reaver Captain in the next video. This is going to be super cool. I'm excited to take this on. This looks like it's going to be a boss battle. So we're going to have to read about how to do that. And then we're going to have to take him on. Oh, I'm super excited to fight a boss in Bardsung. So there you have it. We were able to complete our second encounter in Bardsung. We'll be moving into that boss encounter with the Reaver Captain. That's going to be super cool. You'll have to come back and watch that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you know when that boss battle comes. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. What do you think of Bardsung so far? Do you have an idea of what I should do about powering up my guys? I'm interested to hear what each of you has to say. Also, please feel free to check out my Patreon. It's also located in the description of this video. If you're interested in supporting the channel, that is a great way to do it. Here on the screen are already people that are part of the Patreon. Thank you so much for all your support. I'm looking forward to continuing our playthrough in Bardsung. I hope you are as well. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if you're excited to see if Skull Splitter, Dawnguard, and Nightfeather can make it through the Reaver Captain boss fight, then I need you to meet me at the table.